Hi, Mandalyn. Ashley here. I really enjoyed your video a lot. I think that there were a lot of us seemed to be very uncertain as far as what kind of therapy was being used. And I was right there with you. I think mine were both between person-centered and REBT, and I really loved the way that you broke it down, why you were so uncertain and what your thoughts were regarding both of the therapies and how they both could be applied. I ultimately went with REBT. And in regards to the thinking and behaving goals, we were right there. My answers were very similar to yours. And then when you were talking about the person centered, I totally agree. He was very focused on the client and not the problem, and that he was trying to help her, right? He was not trying to be an authority figure or tell her what to do. As you said, when he did, or when she asked him, well, what do you think I should do, he just kind of reframed it back into what she said, and he said, well, I think you've got a good idea, or I think what you're going to do is what, that sounds good. My same thing. I think I froze. I'm not sure what's happening, so I'm going to keep going. But I thought the same thing. Person-centered therapists don't ask questions, and he was asking questions, and so that automatically for me just triggered that this cannot be, or this is not person-centered therapy. So I just went ahead and chose what I thought, which was REB therapy as well. Because yeah, it's all about changing those self-defeating behaviors and helping the client change. And he was, you know, asking her what she thinks and what she's going to do, and he was explaining you want to attract the people, not just intimate partner man relationships. You want to just attract all relationships and all partnerships in your life. And he was using the humor, and I thought that you could see this sense of like tension or just ease that kind of took over the both of them as that happened, mostly her. And he was incredibly encouraging of her. And when she said, I talked about this too, and she said she was really tentative about wanting to let him go. And he was really encouraging and supportive and saying that's the best you can do, and that's where you are, and this is what you can do. So yeah, I liked her, and I agreed, and I really liked how you broke that down and explained yourself and your thinking, your thought process behind that. Using this as a school counselor with the person-centered therapy, after reading and listening to Dr. McCormick's lecture, I have just, not that I've ruled it out, but I think it's something that I would not start with at all. I think that would be really challenging, especially geared towards my itty bitties. You were talking about doing group sessions with high school where they can set the tone, they can set the rules, they can establish what they want it to look like. I think at an elementary school, at an elementary level, the kids need a little bit more guidance and structure with doing that. So I probably wouldn't utilize that, at least right away. I would probably try to gain my confidence and competence in other areas or other types of therapy before utilizing that. And then I also think it would, oh no, next question. There was one point where you were talking about utilizing, behavior therapy in elementary school, and I'm going to be very transparent. I have a very hard time with this, in utilizing that in elementary schools and behavior charts and punishment. I think especially as like a school counselor, that could have potential to diminish that relationship with those kiddos. And I'm speaking from a point where I was doing kind of behavior intervention and working a lot with kiddos who come from a lot of trauma. And I think that in my experience, I don't feel like behavior charts always work out the best. I feel that it has a tendency to reinforce some of those self-defeating beliefs in the sense of I'm bad or I'm not a good kid or I get in trouble instead of just recognizing that I made maybe a bad choice. I have a hard time utilizing that stuff with kids, and maybe I just haven't done it right, or maybe I'm not closing it off. It's just something that it kind of makes me a little bit uncomfortable because I think these kids who are the ones who tend to display undesired behaviors are the ones who have those self-defeating beliefs inside. So I think my thoughts were to work on self-esteem, work on building, like I would use the REB therapy because I think that our behaviors come from a lot of those beliefs, right? Those self-limiting or self-defeating beliefs. So my challenge is, or my goal would be to challenge those beliefs, to build that self-confidence, self-esteem, that self-efficacy of I can do this. And when we punish, when we don't allow them, like you think about kids, they have so much energy. When we take them out of recess, like that's where they need to let that out, right? That's where all that energy just needs to go. And I don't know. I just have very conflicting thoughts. And I'd love to just like pick your brain because I know you work at an elementary too about this. But yeah, so those are my thoughts on that. I think that also, eliminating those irrational beliefs, starting that as a young age, because I think we all have irrational beliefs that we face and that stick with us. Granted, it may not be as pressing or as challenging for us, or we may not always display those kind of behaviors. It might not always be known, but I do think that teaching or establishing a way of challenging those beliefs at a young age would be really useful and supportive in the growth over time, right? Over time, and as we grow and as we get older and new beliefs and new challenges come up. Yeah, so those are my thoughts. I really enjoyed your video, as I said, and I look forward to the next one. Have a good day.